What men rely on is what we are most comfortable with. If I am brought up in a family that puts high value on thinking and being highly educated and researching and analyzing, but maybe I'm a very emotional person, but those emotions aren't honored because the thinkers don't understand the feelers. The thinkers watch the feelers feel and go, that doesn't make sense. But the feelers go, but this is my truth in this moment. And the thinkers say, but there is only what is true and what is false. And what you are feeling is, if it's only temporary, then it must not be true. It must be a false thought because it's fluid and truth is static, right? And so if we're growing up in an environment where who we are is not.
Häng med på den här intensiva konversationen med min före detta mentor Huey. Vi jobbade intensivt tillsammans för många år sedan. Här är en man med enorm skärpa. Han har jobbat med ungdomar, han jobbar med vuxna. Att ta fram den bästa versionen av olika individer. Enormt mycket hjärta, enorm dedikation, eld. Vi kommer dyka in i vad initieringen betyder, vad vi kan göra som föräldrar för att finnas där för våra barn i svåra situationer. Hur vi kan leda våra liv, hur vi kan identifiera våra styrkor och svagheter, balansera de här mycket mer. Har det så kul.
That what men rely on is what we are most comfortable with. If I am brought up in a family that puts high value on thinking and being highly educated and researching and analyzing, but maybe I'm a very emotional person, but those emotions aren't honored because the thinkers don't understand the feelers. The thinkers watch the feelers feel and go, that doesn't make sense. But the feelers go, but this is my truth in this moment. And the thinkers say, but there is only what is.
I think it was like probably 3 years ago or something since I saw you.
I think so. We had been working together and we'd done a couple lives and online stuff.
Yeah. First, I don't think there are enough ways to express my gratitude, but you were mentoring me, and the reason you were mentoring me because you facilitated a really powerful experience. I got to know you on the warrior training with Success Resources, and you were facilitating the predicament. And we actually do initiations now, and we have parts of the predicament, some bits and pieces inspired from there. So you're making an impact on the Swedish ground for Swedish men like that. But then also I reached out to you. I was super nervous, like Aaron will never mentor me. He will never support me. He's this, the big guru dude. And you really welcomed my request. And for me, it was also challenging because you challenged me. Like I asked for more like business mentoring in the beginning, and you're like, hey, dude, be real. Who are you? What do you want? So thank you very much for how you're showing up and how you're leading yourself and inspiring many people. And I'm very blessed to having been blessed like that by you.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for all the kind words. It's been amazing watching you just build and grow and continue. There was something that we were told a long time ago, and I may or may not have told you, but once you have an idea, one of the biggest business strategies or life strategies, when you know that this idea, this thing you're going to do, impact other men, impact children, impact humans, impact business owners, stay in line. Get in line. If life is like a big buffet, right? You get the bread and you get the salad, and the line is long. There's all these people ahead of you in line, and they're getting amazing stuff. They're down there, they're loading up on chicken, they're loading up on steak. Some people are even down at the dessert. And you're so much, and you're just like, I'm never gonna get this line is so long. So you jump out of line and you eat your bread and you eat your salad, and you're still hungry, so you get back in line. And you look down that, like, just stay in line. You'll get to the dessert, you'll get to the steak, you'll get to the potatoes, but you got to stay in line with it. It takes time. And you're still in line, man. You're still doing your work. That's what I mean. The growth is happening because you're still in line.
And it's the capacity to fuck up so much. I think the year when you were mentoring me, I think that was the year I failed more than ever. So thanks for that. But it was really like it's all your fault.
So if you want to fail, you hire Aaron as your coach. He'll do
Exactly.
great. He'll mentor you right into failure. Good, yeah.
And that was like that was one of the main insights that year. But also I made 4 successes. I succeeded with 4 things. I started like 4 things, and they really took off, and they really changed my life. But I made maybe 15 or 20 or 25 attempts that messed up. Because and then we come to the from the predicament again. That's instruction again.
All the way back. When it gets really hard, you go back to the basics. You go back to the beginning. We stop trying to paint the house to make it look good, right? You go to the basement and patch the cracks, right?
So
your marriage is going bad, you don't buy a new car. I think you fix the marriage.
So one of the things that you are inspiring with, and that's something that I think you made planted some seeds in back then, and we're picking that up now, and that's the impact and how you're working with teens. We made an epic podcast you were sharing, I don't know, for 3, 4, 5, or 6 strategies how we can support kids to not become troubled teens. And I remember one of those was to have dinner regularly with family. Another one was to get to know the parents, because if you don't know the parents, then you will not be able to create a bond. And I actually had an incident with my 9-year-old last Friday, where I really had to connect with the parents, and I was really, really afraid. So your words like that kept them in my mind. But really, we're starting a youth project right now for young men from like 14 to 19 years old. I think we're doing great work with adults, but then we also see that the father archetype is missing for a lot of young guys. And also many fathers are alone, so you can't, do everything by ourselves. So I would love to hear you like working with teens and facilitating really powerful initiations for them and experiences. I want to know everything. What are your thoughts? What are the needs? What are the identities? What are the fears? And what are your insight on making impact for teens? What are they longing for? And I get very different cultures in a way on the other side of the Atlantic, but I think it's still very much the same, the mindset of a 14 or a 15 or a 19-year-old.
There we go. Where our cultures are more alike than we'll say. All right, as our cultures are more aligned. Okay, let's talk about initiatory rites. Let's talk about the rites of passage. Let's talk about the hero's journey, because I've taught the hero's journey to teenagers for 12 years. Because my program that I used to run, we had a school. I ran, for those of you who are meeting for the first time, I ran a drug, alcohol, and mental health treatment center for teenagers. So they would come and live for 4.5, 5 months with me as they healed. And we worked with the families on the families healing too, because you can't heal a child and not heal the family, because the child will go back to an unhealed family and they will unheal. But all of this started with teen rites of passage and child rite of passage programs. I still run a child rites of passage program in Texas, Austin, Texas, with a bunch of friends. And the hero's journey, and for those of you who don't know, I just published my books on the 4 different archetypes that are the primary characters of life's adventure: the warrior, the wizard, the jester, and the bard. And they all approach the rites of passage differently. So first we have to identify our own rites of passage, and were they healing and healthy, or were they detrimental and delayed development? Okay, violent rites of passage. And no disrespect to anybody in the military, but if the rite of passage is not overseen by an elder, by an adult, then it will be a developmentally delaying passage. Gangs, an initiation into gangs. Things like that can pull us back. Kids using sex, reckless driving, drugs and alcohol, self-harm, fight clubs, as rite of passage. Those are things that kids do when they are asking for a rite of passage. Someone rescue me from mediocrity. Someone rescue me from childhood. So the first thing that you brought up that I want to talk about, the father archetype. The father archetype must not be in the rite of passage. You cannot bring the father archetype into the rites of passage. You must bring the elder archetype in. The father is not supposed to be there for their own child's passage. The father must remain outside. The father must send the child away. The mother must send the child away. There is a story that Michael Meade talks about an African tribe that their child rite of passage that takes place between 12 and 15 years old, where the young boys, and this is for the boys, they start acting out, right? They start to enter into the developed red. There are 3 levels of rite of passage in our lives: the red, the white, and the black. Robert Bly writes about the red, the white, and the black. For women, it's white, red, black. Snow White and her ruby red lips and her black hair. Look at Captain Hook with his red jacket and his white shirt and his black beard. Anytime you see those colors written, we are discussing a passage of time and a passage of the boy to man and man to elder, and girl to maiden to mother to crone. Okay? So what happens when the boy gets into the highly developed red part of their lives? Passionate, self-centered, aggressive. The women contact the men's village because the men and the women live in separate villages. And so the first thing that the men do is they build the boy a hut. They build him a hole. And then in the middle of the night, the father cannot be there to witness that. He must send the child away and welcome the man home. The father does not test the boy. That wounds the boy. In the same way that the father must not test the girl. He must not test his daughter. He must protect her and prepare her for living in the real world and for dealing with real men. So the father archetype is not allowed at the rites of passage. The child has grown up with the father archetype, good, bad, or for better or for worse. So now the child gets sent away to the elder, because it's the elder that guides the hero on the journey, not the father. The father wounded the child. Look at Luke Skywalker. His father wounded him. His father is trying to destroy the whole universe, for crying out loud. But it was the elder that guided Luke from being an innocent boy into becoming a knight. It was Merlin who guided Arthur into his kingship, not Arthur's father. So the father archetype is not allowed in the rites. Must be the elders of the community.
I love how you put it like this, like the father wounds the boy and the elder guides the boy from boy to knight, or from boy to king, or from man to king. But it's actually the task of the father to protect and prepare the girl. But I think also that the wounding happens both the father to the daughter and the father to the son, and it's kind of archetypal built into that. It's supposed to be a wounding. Like we don't become whole. There's no purpose found without the wounding. And for as fathers, I work the best I can to not wound and empower my daughters, but still it happens.
The child must reject the father at some point for the child to start to create their own life. If the daughter does not reject the father, how will she transfer that love to a husband or to a lover or to their own child? At some point, they must say, I cannot hug my father the way I used to. I can't sit on his lap. I can't hold his face and feel his beard against my face. That must be for my husband, for my partner. And then every man will wound his son. And if a man tries to avoid wounding his child, then the man is not living his mission, because the child must always wonder, why is he choosing his mission over me? Because if we just choose our children, then we create a culture of people who choose our children instead of life, instead of legacy. We're here to build the world, not to build our child. We must prepare our child to build themselves the way we had to build ourselves. The great wounding, excuse me, the great wounding. This is the way it says. The wound becomes the way. The pain becomes the path. The tears become the trail. The wreckage becomes the resume. The mess makes you the messenger. And the rites of passage is not to say, oh, your father wounded you. I'm so sorry. It's to say, yep, mine too. My father wounded me too. And here's what I did with it. Let me show you how. Walk this gauntlet. Step through this gate. I know you're scared. I'm terrified. I know you don't know what you're doing. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing either. We're making this up. Here's the great secret of adulthood. And that doesn't come from the parent. That doesn't come from the mother. The child isn't listening to the mother. The daughter doesn't listen to the mother anymore. They're in rejection of the gift. That's a part of development. And it's when they begin to reject the gift that you must call the elders of the village together to say, it's time.
What do you mean we reject the gift?
The gift of motherhood. Look at what we do as fathers for our children every day. My daughter doesn't see what I do every day as something I'm doing for her. I do it for other teenagers. I do it for other parents. I do it for other people. So my daughter has learned how to do things for herself and leave her legacy and create her family because I'm busy doing that. And that's what I showed her how to do. Does she know I love her? Every day. I text my daughter at random times throughout the week, and I just say, I love you. That's it. I don't need a response. If she doesn't respond, I'm not, she needs to know how I feel. And you know what that taught her? That taught her to reach out when she's thinking of me and just say, I love you. I miss you. They must reject. To grow up and become their own person, they must reject us. They must reject our gifts. And one of the big problems with parents is that we take that rejection personally. Do you not remember when you rejected your father's gifts? What is this? This guy thinks he knows everything. Maybe we were 14, 15 years old. The truth is, from 14 years old to 26 years old, we think our fathers are idiots. Mm-hmm. And then we realize that life and our fathers, this is chaos. Everybody's just making it up as we go. Everybody is. Everybody. 5-year plan, kiss my ass. Let's throw a global pandemic into your 5-year plan for business. You know, it's chaos.
So you mentioned like the secret of adulthood, and what I understand from that is that we actually don't know. What do you speak to that?
Yeah, well, do you know what you're doing? Do you have any clue what it's like to have a 9-year-old? Have you ever heard of the 9-year change that boys go through? And what happens to them? Rudolf Steiner started talking about the 9-year change, and they talk about it a lot in what's the school that he created? Waldorf School. And the Waldorf philosophies, they talk about the 9-year change. And everybody hears it and goes, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then forget when it's happening right in front of them. Nobody knows what they're doing. Do you know how many teenagers I have sat with in the darkness of their suicidality, where a teenager has written their suicide note and maybe they've even attempted suicide? And I get called in and I'm sitting with this child who's tried to take their own life. And they don't know what they're doing. I don't know what I'm doing. Now, can I give advice to that parent? Can I give advice to the teenager? Sure. But if my own child had done that, what the hell would I do? I would call an elder. I would bring in an elder because I don't know what to do about my own child. I know what to do about your child. I can sit back and say, try this tool, try that tool, try this tool. But that's the job of a counselor or a coach. The shoemaker's children go barefoot. Right? This is what this means, that we don't know what we're doing. This is the greatest secret you could ever give to a child, to say, I'm making all this up, kid. Sometimes I make it, sometimes I fail, I win, I learn. Good luck, kid. I love you. I trust you to figure this shit out. Go for it. I got your back. But the secret that some of us think we know what we're doing, you can think you know what you're doing, but this is chaos.
Life will
Chaos
show
doesn't
you.
have it. Yeah,
Life will humble
likely
us,
story.
right?
Yes, man plans, God laughs. Like, this is chaos. Chaos doesn't have an outcome, but that's what the rite of passage. This is where we tell the teenagers the great secrets, and they go, none of you. I thought my parent was a moron or an expert. They don't know what they're doing. No, they're getting lucky, and luck is where opportunity meets preparation. Now, let's put you through an exercise where you confront mortality in a safe place, in a loving place, but you're going to go home with scars. So let me reiterate. The mother and the father archetype are not allowed to be part. The mother and the father archetype are not allowed to be part of the child's rite of passage. I know people want to. I know you want to be there for that magic moment. That moment belongs to your child. That's your gift to them. That's not for you to take part in. They must have their own. It must be something that you trust, and you trust the men and women in your community to facilitate it. But you can't be there. That's most important. Second, that's where the elders give the secrets and the challenges. And number three, it must scar the child. Now, we got to talk about scarring, because in the old days, that meant one thing. It needs to be a metaphor for nowadays. In the old days, you got your tattoo and it was put on your face, or it was put on. The Maoris still do the chin tattoo and the neck tattoo, right? The piercings, the tribe that knocks out the tooth because the first man had the missing tooth, and now we're all connected to the first man. A partner and I, one of the things we did in a rite of passage for children is we had them sneak through very tall grass. And this grass is known with the name razor grass because it's very sharp. And when the kids were done sneaking through, and we would stand on a bridge and we would watch. And if any of the grass moved, we made them all go back and start over. And there were 30 kids crawling towards us in the grass. This grass was 4, 3, 5 feet tall. It was very big. But if we saw the grass move, they were not being patient. And patience is a virtue of adulthood. Start again. So these kids were doing great. Finally, one kid reached up and he touched the bridge we were standing on. So we told every kid to stand up. We have video footage of this. 30 kids stand up out of the grass. It was beautiful. But that was not the rites. The rites was after, where all the kids' arms were scratched up by the grass. They had tiny little micro cuts all over, and their arms stung. And they walked around going, "Whoa, look at my arms." And the other kids were like, "Yeah, my arms." And the parents came in the next day and they were like, "Mom, look at my arms. Dad, look at my arms," covered in little cuts. Of course, they're healing just fine. But it wasn't the grass. It wasn't about not moving. It was about bragging rights. Look at my cuts. This was my test and I passed. You got it too? You passed too? We are brothers. Mom, look, I made it. I survived. That's the scarring. Yeah, when we would lead the teens through the rites of passage, so many times they would go home and get tattoos. And the parents would call us and I'd be like, "Don't give your kid a tattoo. They're 16 years old." Oh, he was sitting on the bus. He was 16 years old. And he was sitting on the bus on the way to school. And this little kid, 8 years old, walked up to him. And he just stood there in front of Cole. And Cole was doing his homework and he looked up and the little boy said, "Are you part of the bear tribe?" And Cole looked down and he had a necklace of a bear, because we always give our kids a bear when they win the initiation, when they make it. And he goes, "Yeah." And the kid reached in his shirt and pulled out his bear. And they high-fived and they say, "I got your back," because that's what we say in the bear tribe. And they had been through completely different camps. They didn't know each other. They were tribe. How do you identify your tribe? This is what's missing in our white culture. We used to have it. It used to be a part of it. The Celts, the Norse, the Gauls, all of us. This was part of our heritage and culture. And when we give it to our children, we connect them. And why I'm a Freemason is because those initiatory rites has connected me to the oldest fraternity on the planet. I've been through the rites. I've been initiated into witchcraft. I've been initiated into the Norse rites. I've been initiated into the Druidic rites. I've been initiated into the Freemasons. I've been through the rites. The symbolism is universal. It's the hero's journey. How do you identify someone who's been through the gauntlet? You tell by their scars.
Mhm.
And then you have the code words. I got your back. Bear tribe. Whatever yours is, these children must go home with something that belongs to them only. So that's the fourth part. That's very important with rites of passage. It's been a long time since we talked. Did you forget about that part where I can't shut up?
I'm very excited to hear you and to feel your energy, and your energy has not changed. And I say that with in the best way possible. So thank you so much for your juice and for your knowledge and for your symbolism. I very much appreciate that.
I love this stuff. I mean, that's what my latest book is about. It's about the symbology of personality, our dreams, who we are, why we do what we do. It's a symbol. It's a symbol that connects us to something ancient and old. Identify it, become conscious of it. And we wake up to something that's going to happen tomorrow. See, here's an amazing thing. Once you start teaching the child, the teenager, the adult about the hero's journey, and they learn it enough. And 12 years I taught this. Every single day I taught this. And I don't care what movie, SpongeBob SquarePants or Star Wars, The Matrix or Rick and Morty. I don't care. The hero's journey is there. And what I noticed every single time with every single student, at some point they would say, I'm on the hero's journey. And I would say, yeah, which part are you at? And the moment they identify where they are in the cycle, they become conscious of the whole cycle and they know what's coming. And they can manifest it and they know what they've survived. It's a conscious living process. It is a living spirit within us, our story. Oh, my past, I'm a victim of trauma. I'm a victim of abuse, abandonment, assault, addiction. You survived. If you're here telling me that your past had A, B, and C in it, then you're at D. And what comes next is E, and then F and G. It's consciousness is what it is. That's the path, consciousness.
So Aaron, I want to go to a part, I call it being and doing. And I see that we have a challenge. You spoke about this as a father, you go out there and you build the world and you show the children how you're active and you act as a role model, and you're not there every day because you can't, you gotta build, and you show up the world you created them, and that's kind of your heritage. And then we have an issue with young men, and I see it also with the men in my age and older and younger, and that is that it's the effort and it's the struggle of doing, or it's the putting in the work of building this world. And it can be great achievement for the individual. It can be great achievement for the in the external as well. But actually, it's a journey. The longing is to be initiated into themselves, or to arrive at home, and there is no doing that will ever create that, right? There is an experience of self. There's an experience of consciousness where I can land in me and say, I don't need to, the being that I am and the achievement that I want to create is not a struggle. Life is hard, but I choose not to struggle. I choose to be here in the mess that I am, and I choose to accept that I don't know shit. I don't know where I'm going tomorrow. I don't know what I'm gonna do, and I have my plan, and I prepare. And the only preparation there is my ability to rise up to any occasion, to any struggle, to any pain that I meet, and I'm gonna rise up as strong as I can. I'm gonna give everything I got to everything I do, and that's the only preparation there is. I know one of the quotes that I borrowed from you, and we read it, and we have some cards with some sayings, from the warriors, similar cards like that we have in our brotherhood. And one I got from you, and is that we do what we can with what we have where we are.
Yeah.
That's one of the favorite quotes. So you've been quoted probably 100,000 times from in our brotherhood like that. But really, like, it's the only preparation is that we can handle the chaos of life. The strategy we need, as I see it, I can develop the trust in the being, that I don't need to live in a strategy, because the strategy for me, I've been an expert at strategy, but the issue was I removed myself from my awareness. I was living in my head in the strategy because I thought the strategy would help me to not feel what I didn't have the courage to feel. So it's the issue that I see, that as me and a lot of men, we go into the doing because we are hiding from the trust in the being. And the trust in the being comes up. I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. I have plans, but they're going to mess up. But can I trust that wherever I am, whatever is going to happen, I have what it takes. I have the brothers, I have the community, I have the resources within myself. So can you speak to how you see that? Do you see that men also mess up the being and the doing, and how can we actually show up in trust to ourselves and show up and build the world that we need from an authentic, kind of balanced, true strength?
Okay, so I think the first issue that comes up is that what men rely on is what we are most comfortable with. If I am brought up in a family that puts high value on thinking and being highly educated and researching and analyzing, but maybe I'm a very emotional person, but those emotions aren't honored because the thinkers don't understand the feelers. The thinkers watch the feelers feel and go, that doesn't make sense. But the feelers go, but this is my truth in this moment. And the thinkers say, but there is only what is true and what is false. And what you are feeling is, if it's only temporary, then it must not be true. It must be a false thought because it's fluid, and truth is static, right? And so if we're growing up in an environment where who we are is not honored. I, as a child, was a doer and a beer. So let's say that the problem is not doing, the problem is not feeling, the problem's not thinking, and the problem's not being. And those are the four sides: do, feel, think, and be. Those are four different things. Being is the spiritual, thinking is the intellectual, feeling is the emotional, and doing is the physical. And let's say there's no hierarchy amongst those think, do, feel, and be. But let's say that without balance in our own life, we create an unconscious reliance on one of those things being the only way. The warrior archetype tends to fire, aim, fire, aim, fire, aim, fire. And it's on that fourth time that they hit the bullseye. But they're also good at business because they get one done. They don't overthink it. They do something and they correct and continue, correct and continue. But the wizards are also very good at business because they think about what they're going to do and they analyze it and they write stuff. They check it with AI and they contact a coach and they watch videos and hopefully they do something at some point. But they don't fire, aim, aim. They aim, 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 fame, aim, fire. Now we have our bards, our feelers, the emotional ones, the singer, songwriter, dancer, poets, the actors, the artists, the communicators, the creators, the connectors. They don't fire. They don't aim. They go, ready? Are you ready? Okay, everybody, are you ready? Okay, I'm going to do this. Okay, get ready. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Okay, no, stop laughing. Okay, I got to do this. And I'm not doing anything. I'm connecting with you. Now we're both smiling. Now we're both getting ready for me to do something. And it's all for you. It's a gift from me to you. And then there's the jesters, the beers. I'm not going to aim. I'm not going to ready. I'm going to fire. What was that like? Oh, man, this is awesome. Hey, buddy, those bullets got to come back down. Oh, God, let's get out of here. And I'm going to be in this moment because this moment is all there is to be. What I can't do the dishes tomorrow. I can't build a van yesterday. It's right now. There's not one day. There's not someday. There is today. And am I here today? Thinking, feeling, doing, and being. You do one of those things unconsciously all the time. You do it in your relationships. You do it in your business. You do it with your children. That's unconsciousness. And you will never be successful unconsciously. So the goal is to say, hey, first of all 4 of those things are powerful. All 4 of those things are necessary. You got to exercise your weak ones. You got to celebrate your strong ones. And you got to figure out when to use what. Because when you're sitting outside in the woods, that's not a time to think. It's not a time to do. It may not even be a time to feel. It might just be a time to be. Be here now. Be here. But if you're at the gym, and you sit there and you watch videos on how you're going to lift weights, and then you write down in your journal, and then you watch some more videos, and then you analyze that posture, and you watch that person, and you're thinking about what you're going to do. Maybe you need to warrior up and start lifting. Maybe it's not about being better. Maybe it's about giving up the struggle to be different from who we are. Maybe it's about looking at everything everybody does. Maybe it's about realizing, to your beginning point, I'm not building a world for my children. I'm building a world for me. My children will build a world for them. My children are not here to inherit my legacy. They're here to evolve life. The archer sets his sight upon the mark and releases the arrow and lets that arrow fly in gladness. For as God loves the arrow that flies, so God loves the archer that is stable. They are the arrow, we are the bow. Set the mark on the path of infinity and let them go. That's
Thank you for not answering my question. I just heard Elon Musk today that many of us ask what we think about, what is the question, maybe what is the meaning of life. And he said something like that to search for the answer is not the right thing. But he thinks that the answer to the question anyway is the universe. And then the search is to figure out what is the question to answer, or what is the experience to have to figure out that the answer is the universe. And to me, that kind of comes back to what your point is, like the purpose of the arrow is to fly, or it's to hit the mark. So what is the purpose of the thing? When I let go of what I think, or what the anticipation of what I experience the outside world for me to be or show up or think or whatever, then I can be the truth.
Whether we end up feeling our way, thinking our way, doing our way, or being our way through life, I think the goal is to do it when we're awake, because we've been doing it while we're asleep. We'll never be successful accidentally. Never. That doesn't happen. That's a fairy tale. The hero's journey is a journey to consciousness. of self, of identity, of self, of actualization of self. It's a wake up. The hero starts out and they're asleep. That's why they refuse. They bring home the medicine to their tribe because they're awake.
So I want to go a bit deeper. So the question was about, I see that a lot of men are doing and take action to achieve something that when they achieve it, they end up on a place with the same amount of frustration and experience of emptiness as they experienced in the beginning. And then my statement was that it's because they're focusing on the doing instead of the being. And I understand that your map is more complex and still very simple. So do I understand it correctly that we need to attach more consciousness to, so the man that's in the doing, you need to be more conscious of what his actions actually will lead to?
I think to establish the consciousness around actions is that we have to reattach a value to the other thing, right? Action has a high value. Thought has a high value. Do feelings? Does just being? Do those have the same high value? And if they do, then practice them all, right? Become a multimillionaire. Travel with your children. Travel with your partner. That's great, but are you really present while you travel? If your child is crying, do you have sympathy or empathy? Can you cry with your child? Can you sit in their darkness and not try to solve every fucking problem they have, but just be present with them in their problem and communicate trust that they'll figure it out? To demonstrate presence, that you will be there while they do. And if they come to you for advice, then your thought begins. And if they need your protection, then your action takes place. I don't think doing and then feeling unfulfilled is the problem. I think expecting only one of those things in practice to bring you balance is the problem. All four of those things in balance consciously will bring you peace.
I see something that's for the younger generation that's under attack is the issue of an entitlement. And I see one of the priorities as adults, we need to create a world where cause and effect is logical and it's critical and confrontational. Because in Sweden we are more extreme than in the US, because it's the same idea, like everyone should win, and there is this idea that kids, if someone behaves a bit rudely, they report them instead of saying like, hey, actually kid, you behave like an ass. Someone you and you're hurting, good, or whatever you call it. So yeah. What do you see in entitlement, and how for me the solution is to have logical cause and effect, and to say each time you do one action you will have the same effect. And it's not because I'm in a good mood or a bad mood. I will show you the logic and the truth of the world, and that will make the child safe in understanding the world. But I want to get it. I believe that entitlement is one of the biggest threats we have right now. And we're trying to be nice parents, and I think we're messing them up because they don't understand the world.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think you and I are in agreement that entitlement is not a child's issue. It's an adult issue. The child is the victim of entitlement, not the right. How many graduations has your child gone through? And they're 9. How many graduation ceremonies have you been to?
It's once a year, so it's 3, 4. No, actually, it's way more. It's way more. It's probably 10.
Why do we think that every grade needs a graduation ceremony? When did that come about? The children didn't come up with that. The adults came up with that. The children didn't say, I lost, I should get a trophy. The adults said, we don't want the children to feel bad. We should get them all trophies for playing the games.
Yeah. And
See, the
we're
children are,
afraid of them feeling, right? That's the issue. We're afraid of them being hurt, feeling not fairly treated, or them being angry.
look, if we have parents who don't give a shit about our feelings, then a natural response is to swing that pendulum all the way to the other side, where every feeling is, we have to address. What we're afraid of is we don't want our children to be uncomfortable, right? Because if they're bored, they turn around and come to us. The problem with parents is that they're trying to solve every problem the child has. It's not just about feelings. It's about everything. If my child is bored, they turn around and say, I'm bored. That's not my problem. That's their problem. No child needs a graduation from every single grade. Should there be a party at the end of the year? Yeah, great. Wonderful. But some sit in a chair and watch every grade march through and do what the high schoolers get to do before college? No, that was sacred. They used to be sacred. That was sacred once. We've diluted it with everyday celebration. Winners get to win and losers get to learn. After a hockey game one time, I was goalie. We lost badly. I got into the car with my dad and he said, how do you think you did? The referee was friends with someone on the other side and the coach didn't blah, 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 blah. And my dad slammed on the brakes of the car and he said, you lost because they're better than you. And if you want to win, practice and be better than them. And he drove away. He didn't say I couldn't feel bad. He never said don't feel bad. Feeling bad might motivate you. Right? When a team loses a game, they watch the tape. They have to lose twice. They have to experience a loss, and then they have to go analyze the loss. Teach your child to analyze a loss. But what that means is that as an adult, you have to be okay being uncomfortable. You have to be okay with losing. You have to stop blaming. Oh, they cheated. And I'm talking about adults. I'm talking about in America, in my country, where no matter what, whoever wins this next election, the other side's going to be like, man, they cheated. And I'm sick of it. The adults can't even stop bullying each other. And we expect the kids to? Come on. Right? This is not a child problem. This is an adult problem. Children did not create. And I know you know this. I know we're preaching to the choir here. But then to go back to creating a rite of passage experience, can you be uncomfortable? Can you be in the unknown? If I tell you, we're all making this up as we go along, does that make you uncomfortable? Good, because we're all uncomfortable. Be in that. Do something about it. Feel that. Think your way through it. But this is life, kid. This is life, adults. I know we want to protect our children. That's your job until they're 12 years old, and then you got to prepare them. You got to get them to adulthood, but when you do, are they ready for it? It's both. It's protect and prepare. When do you transition? Somewhere around 12. You stop solving their problems and you communicate that you trust them to figure it out. Stop telling them what to do. Ask them what they're going to do about it. Children are focused on consequences, not strategy. Consequences are reactive to bad strategy. If you want the child to focus on their strategy, then ask them to come up with a new one and try it out. And don't intervene. Do it now while it's safe. Well, my kid failed math. Who cares? Who cares? You care? Oh, heaven forfend, your child sucks at math. Maybe he'll have to figure something out. And they do. They figure it out. I suck at math. I was doing the budget with my wife the other day. We're doing okay financially. Our retirement is set. We got lots of real estate. Is it all working? No. I mean, yes. We have work to do, but it's because I'm having to use math. I sucked at it at school. Do I suck at it now? No. I mean, yes, but I work at it. and I'm uncomfortable while I do it. And I argue like a little boy who sucks at math and is scared of failing. And my wife is patient and loving until she's not. But we do the work together. And we call it out. I'm struggling with this. Sorry. Yeah, you're being a pain in the ass, honey. Stop struggling with it. You're right. Okay. And we figure it out. And it's uncomfortable. And it's life.
So we're starting an organization right now. It's a nonprofit, and the goal is to meet up with kids, and one of the main points, hopefully we can get there, also the importance of, say, brotherhood and camaraderie. I know you're a big fan of that. I think that children need, or young men needs, safe relationships where they can be who they are and have space to speak and to share and to learn. The boys I meet, they have a big facade and they're not aware of it. And I mean, many of us adults do it as well. But then right now, our idea is to start going out to the leaders of youth, of like soccer teams or other kinds of organizations, and bring them in and start having conversations about like, what do the children need that they don't get from the practices right there. And the idea is to start developing more awareness with the leaders and with the children, how they can be and communicate and collaborate in a more empowering way, and see the different, you spoke about the 4 archetypes, see the gift of each individual and not compare them to each other, and bring that forth. What are your thoughts, and what do you think like are some roadblocks we could bump into, and both with the children itself, like how to work and come around issues, but also when it comes to structuring and making an impact?
I was talking to 2 women who are working in Arizona with a bullying issue with about 200 kids, and have brought in the parents. And I say the same thing to them yesterday that I'm going to say to you now. What we have to do is we have to create a sacred, dramatic moment. People are coming in separated. So purposefully separate them and have them experience challenge while separated, and then bring them back together and create that nation from the individual tribes. Everybody wants to be part of something unique. That's human psychology. That's very basic human psychology. And it goes all the way back to Neanderthal times. If we're not part of a tribe, we will die, because no one survives alone. Solopreneurs struggle. Entrepreneurs create business joint ventures and partnerships and projects and network with other people because it makes life easier. And everybody's trying to find a unique archetypal subculture. I'm a Democrat, you're a Republican, conservative, liberal, socialist, communist, Democrat, blah, 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 blah. And we all have these unique social constructs that may or may not survive. And so what we do, and you'll notice this with some of the events, Warrior Camp, for example, that we've been through, the Millionaire Mind, events that we've both been through, and that's a strategy of working with people in a crowd. First, separate them. Oh, you're a money monk, you're a spender, you're a saver, right? You separate. You segment your audience. And then you allow them to fight to be together. You show them the problem with being unique. I mean, there's something special in it, right? And remember, that's one of the things. Here's the best thing about being part of my tribe. I'm a warrior, I'm a wizard, I'm a jester, I'm a bard. Here's the best thing about being those things, but you will never be king if you're just a warrior. Because even the greatest warrior king, King Arthur, failed because he wasn't balanced. He was betrayed by his heart. So you must learn how to balance yourself. You must learn how to embrace the other tribe and then embrace a whole nation to succeed as a nation. If you're in this for you, then go off into the woods and do you. Go do you, boo. But if you're in this for the world, you must become part of the world. So purposefully in the work, separate them. Boys over here, girls over there, parents over there, dads over there, moms over there. What's the best part? What's the worst part about being you? You watch them force themselves back together, because really it's what we truly want. We don't want to be alone. So make them alone. Watch them fight to get together and then point it out. Make it conscious. Everything that we need to do to be successful, we're trying to do by ourselves and unconsciously. Our job as elders is to bring the unconscious conscious. Our job as the elder, when the child goes, I'm struggling, you go, me too. There's only one difference between our struggles. I'm awake. You're asleep. Wake up. And the child goes, oh, I'm awake. Good. Whew. So good luck. And I'm right here if you need to talk about it. Off you go. Go battle that dragon. And then watch how they battle. Celebrate the win. Teach them when they lose. So that's always my first strategy when I have a group. Separate them. And watch them come back together. That's where the magic's happening. They'll tell you what to do next. They'll tell you what to say. You just pick them apart. They'll put themselves back together.
Trust. So trust coming through, and I've also seen you over the years and the things you do in the projects you run, and I can see that there's a lot of trust in yourself and in the world and in life. So thank you for making your being conscious through your thinking and your ability to communicate.
Oh, I fall asleep plenty. I'm in a wake up moment right now in my own life. Mm-hmm. Let's not ever pretend that the guru doesn't poop sitting down, right? Mm-hmm. That, to me, the worst thing that happens to someone who's trying to be an influencer is they ultimately get pulled off the pedestal under accusation of being human.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're all in this together. None of us know what they're doing. What I'm good at and what you struggle with is as equal to what I struggle with and what you're good at. And that's why we need each other. Mm-hmm. I've had a life coach for 18 years, and I still meet with her once a month. I have a financial advisor who sits me down and goes, what are you doing? And I've had him since 2006. I'm not under any illusion that I'm awake at all times. There are things I know, and there are things I don't. And that's it. And that's why we do this together. Why we're supposed to do this together. I love my country. I wish we'd all wake up and see what's happening.
Thank you very much for your love, for your attention, for your awareness. And if someone want to reach out or take part of your work, how can they learn more from you and what you do?
First thing I'll say is go to Amazon. The 4 prime archetypes, why we do what we do. It took